Welcome to another episode of Box Seat. Box Seat is a podcast featuring some of the best consumer brands from Britain. We're looking to give up to £1 million in funding to the future consumer brands of tomorrow. Brands that not only want to be profitable, but make a better world. Welcome to another episode of Box Seat. I'm proud to be joined, by Sunny Drinkwater, founder of WellEasy. Sunny, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Muse House.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, excited.
Very welcome. Sunny, why don't you just start by just telling us a bit about WellEasy, how it works. Give us your so-called 90-second elevator pitch.
Sure. So I'm Sunny Drinkwater, one of the two co-founders of WellEasy. We are an online membership grocery store with an expert curated range of about 4,000 healthy groceries, available up to 50% off RRP, delivered to your door on your schedule. So the way we pitch it is think it kind of like Costco meets Whole Foods, and that's us online basically. Reason for setting up, there's about 70% of people in the UK right now that want to make healthier choices. I think that number is going to continue to grow. But about 58% of those don't trust our current supermarkets to actually help them make those choices, which meant that a lot of people are shopping around, paying different shipping fees, going to multiple places, multiple trips just to get the products and the better quality products that they want. As well as this, the market right now at the minute, 20% of all grocery shops are predicted to be online by 2030. It's a £220 billion market. And our supermarkets actually can't make the transition very well to an online way of ordering. They're kind of used to this outdated store model, upsells in store, and they can't really make the online logistics work. And they don't have the trust to. So WellEasy has kind of four key unique things that we set up. The first is a membership model. So again, we save the customer money. It's up to 50% off RRP. The second is very, very simple logistics. So a very curated range, about 4,000 products, very simple, one central fulfillment center delivers it to people. The third is that we have a very, very strong community presence. This is what we do. So we don't spend too much money on marketing. Most of it comes word of mouth. Most of it's kind of baked into who we are as a community and our mission. And the fourth is that we have one of the best selling own brand ranges that we want to continue to scale and grow using the data that we've got and to build something for this food system. So Josh and I set it up because it was a very personal mission. We were impacted by this, trying to make healthier choices, and couldn't find an easy way to do it.
I think we've gone up and down the elevator like a few times now.
Probably, yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say I've never shopped at Costco. So come on, explain to me the membership model side of things. So obviously you go into Whole Foods or you order on Ocado, you just simply set up an account. That's it. Yeah. How does it work with WellEasy?
Pretty much the same way. It's just when you first set up your account, you sign up to our membership fee. So a member will pay £48 for the year. So it's an annual membership fee. They get a 30-day free trial, so they can see what it's like as a member first. So they pay that fee, and then they shop as they would at Ocado, anywhere else. You can set a recurring delivery. You can shop one-off. All there is a minimum for shipping, which is £40. And you will get 4,000 odd products that you can choose from, all at kind of different varying savings delivered to your door.
And I had a quick look at the website and I noticed a key USP for you was savings, particularly on your own label product. How do you get these savings? Well, traditionally supermarkets have worked in quite low margins. How is WellEasy able to get savings that other people are not able to get?
So we work with brands and support brands just the same way that any other retailer would. So we don't buy from them at any different price. They set the price and we buy it from them. The difference is we make our money from the membership fee itself. This is what the Costco model is kind of famous for. Yeah. Most of Costco's profit and revenue is tied up into that membership fee. So that's where the majority of our money comes from. And then we pass over savings to the customer. We make some money on the orders, but we forego that kind of profit per order to make the profit up front and the membership fee. And then we work with the brands as anyone else would. Okay.
Sunny, tell us about your own background. You seem remarkably young. Tell us about your other founder member. Tell us about the team and the journey you've been on.
So myself and Josh are 26. We've known each other since we were 12 years old.
Wow.
So we've been a long time with each other, playing football against each other growing up.
Who's the better footballer?
I think he would also say me, but he was also, he had other interests in golf and other things. But yeah,
what position?
That I played centre
Yeah.
midfield.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, are you the sort of midfield silky Perlo general? Or are you the Graham Souness win the ball?
Graham Souness won the
Oh,
ball.
wow.
100%.
Yeah. Good
not,
trait.
Not silky at all.
Yeah.
Quite bad. But yes, so we've known each other since 12 years old. We both got started in this out of, as I said, kind of at the start, personal mission. Both got unwell during university. We were at different universities. And in the process of being unwell, you know, like they say, a sick person wants just one thing, and it's just to be well. And we just found it too difficult, too expensive, and too inconvenient to actually get the sort of better quality products that we wanted, an easy way and an affordable way to do so. So we knew this problem existed. We'd always wanted to start something. I'd worked in different startups at university. Josh had done the same. First business we started was actually similar mission to make healthy living easy, accessible and affordable for everyone. But we started as a B2B snack business, just stocking up offices. During the pandemic, COVID really hit that hard. And
Of course,
it became
no offices.
No offices. So we became kind of a care packaging system. And we lost any ability to relate the mission that we had to what we were trying to do. The business was profitable. We had some customers, but most companies started to kind of get rid of all the sort of perks and the office perks, right? So we started to look at different business models. Same mission that we were in love with. And then we fell in love with this space that we saw in the UK grocery market to bring in this Costco style membership model. And that's really how we've been going. So we've been going for about 3 years now with this model.
What was the name of the previous business you're involved with?
It's called Snackcess.
Yeah.
I don't like the name too much.
No, it doesn't roll off the tongue, does it?
No, it doesn't roll off
I won't
the
even
tongue,
try and pronounce it.
Yeah.
So, and what did you study at university?
My background was in history.
Okay.
So I did 3 years of history and then a year of like an entrepreneurship master's. Josh did economics.
Okay. And is there any other members of the team?
Yes, we've got 5 of us full time at the minute. So we've got 2 on the supply buying side, 1 in what we call member wellbeing, but kind of customer service, and then the rest is outsourced. Our logistics is all outsourced.
Okay. So, you know, at one of my previous companies, Pentland Brands, they were actually one of the founder shareholders of Ocado. Wow. And that's been an incredibly tough business to run. I'm not even sure they're still profitable or are even profitable. Why do you believe that you're going to be profitable? What sort of separates you away from people like Ocado who've had massive resources, but yet not been able to be profitable?
Very good question. In a short summary, you know, focused retail can be highly profitable. There are some comparable models out there to kind of what we do. Obviously, Costco being one. Similar company in the US called Thrive Market that's very profitable, cash flow positive as well. So we know the model can be made profitable, but there are reasons why to it. Firstly, very, very simple logistics. So as I said, we've got 4,000 products at this moment in time. We will probably never go past about 5,000 products. Ocado has 90,000. I think it continues to grow. What that means is that obviously logistics become simpler. You can achieve scale volumes far quicker, right? So we're already kind of operating at break even.
So like that Aldi sort of Lidl type
kind of
model.
that Aldi, exactly.
Not having 10 packets of cornflakes,
Exactly.
just one own brand cornflake.
Exactly. Secondly, obviously with the membership, keeps our cash flow very, very healthy. Right, so that's a big thing when it comes to these models. So we almost get all of our money up front. So our CAC payback period is very, very quick. So that does keep things super profitable. Also leads to incredibly high retention. So you're not spending a hell of a lot of money to reacquire a customer because you've got very sticky cohorts of customers that stay around for a very long time, which is why Costco, etc., don't really market
because they paid
much.
the membership fee.
Because they paid the membership
They want to get
fee.
the best value out of it because effectively it's an annual membership fee.
Exactly that. Okay. Exactly that. And then lastly, you know, being focused in sort of the health and the quality space allows us to bulk out both products that probably have a bit of better margin in anyway. Everything from kind of supplements down to just better quality has a bit more margin to play with. So from day one, our margins are healthier, but also then combining our own brand into that. We have all the data to really, really scale a massive own brand play alongside this to support all the other brands on there. The Ocado would have some of that data, but when it comes to kind of a focused retailer, you know, we can sell a product and on day one, it becomes the best seller just because our customers trust us. So we've built that trust.
So you spoke about your own brand product, okay? And I'm absolutely obsessional about product. You know, I think one of my mantras that I've run in all my businesses has been, if you're not special to your customer, you won't exist. What makes your product special? Give us an idea of some of the product you make show me some of your best sellers. I think you've got some example products today. Yeah. And how are you sourcing your products, and why is your product as an own brand better than other people's?
Okay. So
it's quite a lot of questions there.
Yeah.
Just what makes your product special?
Absolutely. Firstly, we have what we would call some of the highest standards out of any sort of supermarket in the industry, right? There's 4 things that we will select a product by. The first is we have actually a banned ingredients list of about 300 different ingredients that a product has to not have these in to be eligible for WellEasy. The second is we look to be produced responsibly. That kind of pertains to everything from kind of suppliers and where that comes from in terms of supply chain, organic farming, regenerative farming. The third comes to packaging. Is this brand quite a conscious brand when it comes to its supply chain and its ethical packaging side of things? And the fourth is community testing. So pretty much every product that comes onto WellEasy, we do like an initial trial run with a lot of our members where we either send it out or we onboard a little bit of stock just so they can get the feel. We get the feedback back on that. And so we build this kind of long-term relationship on that. So when it comes to products, first and foremost, our brands are the core of what we do, right? That is where our trust is built in the brands that we retail. So they are the foremost of WellEasy. Secondly, with our own brand. So we've taken that level of trust that customers have for our curation, and we've put that into some of the most well-sourced, or we believe the most well-sourced staple products that you'll find on the market. To give you an example, our coconut milk is the first regenerative.
Show us your coconut milk.
It's the first regenerative and organic coconut milk sourced from Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Show it to the camera.
Small farm in Sri Lanka, really, really ethical, invest a lot of their profits back into sort of local projects, local school projects and sort of education projects. And also, we want to lead the charge when it comes to regenerative as a kind of a new movement in this space. I think that's going to be the future. Good example. And also price point. We've managed to get the price point of that pretty much, it's better than any organic on the market. And in the years to come, we actually want to make a product like that, if not similar to a price point of a non-organic version, so that the whole mass market can start to shift over. So that's the premise of what we do with own brands. And our olive oil is very similar. 3rd generation family farm in Crete. Been there, met them, seen them, shared all the content online with them, and a really well-trusted product at a good price.
So I've worked with people like M&S. I've worked with Sainsbury's. We've got one of our board advisors is Justin King, the ex-CEO of Sainsbury's and ex-head of food at M&S. And I know they've got massive departments when it comes to sourcing product and their own brand product. You've got a relatively small team. How are you ensuring that quality in terms of sourcing your product and making sure that the product that you're supplying under your own brand is really great product?
Takes time, takes a hell of a lot of time. And we do take time with it. They probably have the luxuries that they can kind of launch MPD every week, right? For us, a new product can take 3, 4, 5 months sometimes, just from initial concept to getting onto the market. We have advisors around us. So we have brought in some people from kind of Ex-Planet Organic and some other names that help us to understand where to source some of these things from and what to look out for. So we've got the basics kind of down. And then we really just do the due diligence of once we find some of the suppliers out there, we go and meet them firsthand. I'm sure M&S, etc. do, but to us, that's a big thing when you're on small budgets. We meet them all firsthand. We feel like there's a story and a trusted story to tell. We get all their credentials. It matches everything that we have internally. I think there's still room for improvement. There's always going to be room for more improvement and more rigorous kind of testing of those supply chains. But on the whole, our mission lends itself to really kind of taking the time for that. So I guess just a slower process to do it, but hopefully an equivalent, if not better, product. But M&S is good, I would say.
For those listeners out there that don't know the difference between branded and own brand product, I'm going to give a little bit of a story here. And it was, I was making a polo shirt out of Mauritius, and we went to the factory in Mauritius. And we were inspecting the lines, and down one line was coming an Armani polo shirt, and at the end, and it was coming down the line, and there was no inspectors there. I think maybe there might have been one quality control inspector, I think an independent inspector, and it came down, and it was then priced at the end, and you could see the price, and it was, let's say, €50 or whatever it was. It's going back in time, probably a lot more expensive now. And then there was another line, and it was the M&S line, and they had 3 or 4 M&S personnel, quality control inspectors, inspecting all the product. It was an identical polo shirt, And the only thing that was different about it was just the labeling. It didn't have the branding on it.
Yeah.
And that came down the line. It was $15.99, okay, or something like that. And the reason why is that when you get a product and it's your own brand product, you haven't got the margin of a brand. So in the case of clothing, what would be typical, if we bought a polo shirt for £10, we'd wholesale it for £20 and the retailer would sell it for £60, okay? Hence that recommended retail price of £60. But with own brand, it literally is skipping out the middleman. If they're buying it for £10, they can sell it for £20 or £30 because there's no middleman and still maintain a healthy margin. That's why own brand products are often much better value. Absolutely. And a lot of customers don't understand that. Yeah. Actually, everything I've got on today is M&S. So, yeah. So let's talk about some of your other own brand products.
Yeah.
So what are some of your best sellers?
Best sellers of own brands?
Yeah.
So best sellers of own brands, we've got our collagen peptides powder. Okay. So again, that's quite a specific.
What is that? So
collagen is very big at the minute. It's quite a...
Something for skin, isn't it?
Skin, hair, nails, health, just all around health. But it's also good for your gut as well, right? There's a lot of health benefits to it. It's very big at the minute.
Is it going to make me more beautiful? That could be hard.
Could do.
I need cement, really.
But that's super popular and it's a big one.
Have you got it here today?
This is our collagen.
Okay.
On there. So this is, again...
Oh, you like pop it in a shake?
Shake, coffee.
Okay.
Pop it in dinners as well, to be honest.
You pop it in coffee?
Yeah, it's flavourless. So
okay.
It's completely
all
unflavoured.
right. Okay.
Yeah. So you won't taste it. You just get the health benefits without knowing it's
okay.
So. Yeah. But that's regenerative, again, super well sourced as a product. So that's super popular. Our olive oil is very popular.
Come on, pick it up.
Our olive oil comes from...
Who did your branding design?
We did that in-house ourselves.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So our olive oil comes from a third generation family farm in Crete, on the island of Chania. I think it's pronounced Hania, but
it's Hania is a port in Crete.
Right. Okay.
I've got a long story to tell you, but I won't tell you.
Okay.
I know Hania well from my younger days.
That's where it comes from.
Okay.
A family farm out there, and it's organic, super well tested for sort of polyphenol count, and it's just one of the best qualities you can get.
Yeah.
As you say, sort of RRP, the retail price of this is about £21 in terms of quality. On our store, it's available to members at £14.
Okay.
If you subscribe, it's even less. It's £13. So that's like if you want it on a recurring basis.
Yeah.
So it's just a good example of a very good quality organic staple, but using our model at sort of a more affordable price point is how we do it.
And let's now move on to the brands you're stocking.
Yes.
So what brands are you stocking, and what are some of your best sellers?
Yeah.
And also, how do brands react to the fact that you're discounting their product?
Yeah. Yeah. So as I said before, the brands are just the core of everything we do. Our trust and our curation is all down to our brands. So they are sort of the main focus of everything. We have all different kind of brands, everything from your more conventional, your kind of Bionas, your Ecovas, some of the bigger names out there that have kind of health or sustainability at their core. So we've got all of those kind of main staple products, all the way up to some more specific ones like your bone broths here, for example, your Freya bone broth, or your Plenish milk.
Pass me that. All right. Yeah. Okay.
So we do.
I've tried that. I use a bit of bone broth.
It's honestly amazing to add in everything. It's and really popular as well.
I cook like meals, and like say if I'm doing minced meat, I'm doing spaghetti. I put the bone broth in, the beef one in, to give it a real taste to
100%. Yeah, you do that with that. That's
just checking I'm using it correctly.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. And again, very high in collagen, very high in a lot of good stuff. So kind of more everything from kind of your household staples to more specialist food, all the way up to your home stuff is everything we do. We still do the protein powders and we still do the supplements. So anything that's kind of better.
Name some of your best-selling brands.
Biona, Hunter and Gather, brilliant brands. Freya, the bone broth brand is very strong for us. Hue Chocolate. I don't know if you ever had Hue Chocolate, but it's we can break open later. It's probably the best. The best chocolate I think you'll ever taste.
Okay,
it's
all right.
Amazing.
Why is it good chocolate?
It's filled with almond butter, so taste-wise, it's amazing.
I've not had breakfast,
so this one's cashew, so they're all different nut butters. That's going to be nice on the mic. Yeah. Have a square of that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's also just very well sourced, good ethics, dark chocolate as well, so it's got high cacao content.
Okay.
It is bloody delicious as well. Huge chocolate. Yeah. What do you think?
It's good.
Nice. Yeah.
What's in the middle of it?
Cashew butter in that one. You're not about to tell me you're allergic to cashews, are you?
No. It's really good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huge chocolate does really well. And then a lot of kind of your conventional stuff. I think the more we're growing, the more we're starting to see that, we've got a really nice blend of some of the stuff you're going to find in supermarkets, which is maybe about 30% of our range you'd find in supermarkets, but then the rest is kind of more specialist. So your Bionas, your Ecovers, as I mentioned, they're also very popular with us.
Let's just go back to the discounting question, okay? Which is, how do brands react to you discounting their products?
Yeah. So for us, what we make sure all brands understand is that we are a membership platform. So for anyone to shop with us, they have to pay a £48 annual fee up front to do so. So there is a big cost to even becoming part of the platform, and we're exclusive. So they have to pay that, and then they become exclusive to shop with us to do that. So our price saving doesn't devalue anything with the quality or the trust of that brand. That all stays intact. The only difference is because this person's paid to become a member, they then get access to these savings that they won't get anywhere else, right? So on the whole, that's how the model works. Brands love being with us purely because, one, right now, we're almost like a launch platform for a lot of good brands out there. Yeah. There's not really many places they can go to break down the supermarket doors and break down the big food companies. It's quite a hard task. So we're kind of the first place that they come to as a little avenue to do that. The second, the leverage we have and the trust we have with our community, our membership community, is such a unique audience for them to be part of. It's the perfect audience they can be part of. We can allow them to target, we can allow them to speak to those customers in kind of a unique way that's never existed before. A lot of people describe us as a one-stop shop, the first one-stop shop they've ever had for these products. So we're just kind of unique in a sense to these brands as a platform for them to be part of. And our mission just says all that. Our mission is to make it more affordable and accessible.
So almost like it's a partnership because you're helping launch these brands. It's no different than Coca-Cola being stocked in Costco and you could get it cheaper.
Exactly.
That's a perfectly standard model. There's a barrier to entry in terms of you have to be a member, but you're giving the customer a curated experience.
100%.
Starting to sell it to me. I'm
100%.
I'm starting to see it.
Good, I'm glad. And that relationship with that customer is really strong because never before has that customer been able to see in their head that they can regularly purchase that product. Whereas because of their membership and their loyalty with us, those purchase habits might have been once every 3 months, and now they're once every month with us. Does that make sense? So the relationship just becomes stronger and stronger.
And the curation side of things has got to be a really important part of it because they've really got to buy into your integrity, that you've looked at all the products that you bought and you wouldn't stock a product that didn't meet the criteria that you've got.
100%. That's so crucial.
Okay, so saying that, what chewing gum brand do you stock?
We've got, what do we have? We had True Gum.
Okay.
I can't remember if it did Pepper Smiths do chewing gum.
No.
Just Mints.
Mints.
So I think True Gum might have been the main one. There probably is another brand on there.
You need to stop.
I know you're going to say Nude Gum. Yeah, it's definitely 100%. It matches our values, right? I've looked at it before, so definitely would be more than happy to look into it. Yeah.
I've sent your details to Keir. Keir, if you're listening, get into WellEasy.
Yeah.
Is it just all groceries? Is it just all food products?
It's at this moment in time it's about 3,600 products that are ambient grocery. So kind of longer shelf life products, so nothing fresh, nothing frozen, but everything from your peanut butters or your nuts up to your home cleaning and your supplement products is across that range. We do beauty and stuff as well. Most people come to us for unique food is how I would describe it.
Yeah. So when you say you do beauty, are you doing any homeware products? Like we're just about to go on a fundraise for Seep, who do effectively sustainable homeware products. Do you stock things like that?
We stock Seep. Seep's a good brand with us. Yeah,
good.
Seep is a great
Laura,
brand.
well done.
Great brands. And another one just challenging that category and
Better
breaking
Nature?
down doors to do it. Better Nature, I can't remember if it's shelf stable.
Tempeh?
Is it shelf stable?
Good question. It's in my fridge, so I'm going to say
I don't think
might be difficult.
Yeah. But I know the founders well from LinkedIn.
Yeah. He's very impressive. Chris Kong, he was on this show. What's the idea with effectively shelf life? Is that so you don't have to worry about products running out of date and stuff like that?
From a operational standpoint, there's a lot of benefit to it. So you get minimal waste, if any waste at all.
Yeah.
You get easier time to kind of sell through those products for one. But two, it's the segment of the market that we believe needs the most convenience. You know, sometimes when you go to the supermarket, you get all your kind of generic staples, your tins, your cans, your glass stuff, right? And you kind of chuck that in. And then you take more time to look for your fresh and other stuff that you want maybe in the here and now, or something that's prepared kind of with a bit less shelf life. So we want to take care of that really easy shop, make that super easy online so that you've got the time then to go locally for quality fresh and quality produce.
Makes a lot of sense. I'm a great believer that the future of all consumer brands are going to be impact brands. Okay, we're going through a bit of a ridiculous time at the moment with this sort of era of Trump, and he's in my news feed every day, and there's this whole anti so-called wokeness going on. But the reality is, I think that Trump is just a blip, and you know, what's the point of making money if we don't have a world to live in? So ultimately, we're going to have to go back to those values. In particular, I think there's going to be some fundamental changes when it comes to food. And we're going to get a lot more information about the food that we're eating, largely due to the advent of quantum computing, that from an atomic level, we're going to understand what the content of our food is and how it reacts with your body. And also because of social media, is that what you're seeing as well? A move towards a much more conscious, healthier customer? And are you going to grow with that?
100%. I think, you know, our belief is that a lot of the best consumer businesses tend to capture and build a community around a movement or a trend, right? And I think one of the biggest trends in our time that we're going to continue to see is this waking up of kind of your ultra processed foods and cutting out these kind of artificially produced foods that have got added stuff in them that doesn't need to be there. And there is no brand that stands for it. The supermarkets will never stand for it because they stock pretty much 80% of all the ultra processed foods, right? So that's where we want to stand and cement ourselves in this space, because I do believe that is massively the future. I think that movement back to kind of real food ingredients and using, as you said, kind of quantum computing to understand that, make things easier to do that. I think that's the only way our food system's going to go.
I mean, we you know, my experience working with the guys from Nude, it's ridiculous, because I think one stat was that 85% of the people out there don't know that they're chewing on plastic gum. And that most of the gum that we chew on has got plastic. And when we're talking about plastic, we're talking about the plastic that goes into tires. And there just really isn't that sort of information. And going forward, you know, I don't see a world in which we're going to be chewing plastic gum. I mean, it's ridiculous. Never mind about the environmental damage, but actually they've been finding microplastics going into your brain, into your bloodstream. I don't believe that in 10 years' time, Coca-Cola as a brand will exist in its current guise. I think that we're going to make a connection between some of the additives that are added to Coca-Cola and how that affects your body. So I think we're on the cusp of a major revolution when it comes to food and a consciousness towards food. And I believe that you're in exactly the right area. And you're going to have a new breed of retailers who are going to be championing that. And they're going to be retailers who've got much stronger sustainable values than currently exist. You know, they haven't stocked Coca-Colas, or they haven't stocked the plastic gum that exists out there at the moment.
100%. And I think for us as well, Roger, like that whole, is obviously a business phrase, that whole like crossing the chasm, right? At the minute, you've got this market that exists of amazing products. And then you've got everything else that's sold in the supermarkets, the super cheap, ultra processed foods, right? And that bit in between is really stopping people make the jump at the minute, especially in the cost of living crisis, especially sort of, you know, justifying those costs and even knowing what to choose to justify the costs in your own head, right? To make it make sense also financially. And, you know, we believe that this model that we've got and the ability to make it more affordable for the customer, that will only continue to be more affordable as we grow without devaluing any of the quality and instead promoting quality, is the kind of the bit that will cross the chasm, right, and bring this audience in. So that's how we see it, and I just want that to change as quick as it can.
It's like a simple example of, say, you're making a smoothie in the morning and choosing to put almond milk in there as opposed to normal milk. Yeah. I mean, there you go. Yeah. Plenish. Show us, is it your own product?
It's not. This is Plenish, but it's a brilliant brand. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so look, we talked a lot about product. Okay, but you can have the best product in the world unless you're getting traffic to that product. how are you acquiring customers? What are you doing to create customers?
Benefit of our business and our market that we're in, there is a hell of a lot of online searches anyway for this stuff because you can't get it easily anywhere else.
So what are the main online searches?
Google. So people will be searching Google for products. It could be like Plenish almond milk. It could be organic olive oil. It could be collagen peptides powders, coconut milk, etc. Right? It's all of these searches are taking place online because it's so inconvenient right now. Drives them to our store. So Google is a massive channel for us. In terms of a paid channel, it's really, really cheap acquisition costs, drives a lot of people to us. The hard part with Google.
Why do you say it's cheap acquisition costs? That's the first time I've heard that said.
Yeah.
So let's just say you put in almond milk, okay? Are you going to come up high on the rankings, and how much is that going to cost you?
We will come up high, even cheaper for us if you type in organic almond milk or minimal ingredient almond milk, any of those more specific searches. Yeah. It's our playground, right? Because we've got 4,000 products to do that with. So it's the benefit of being a retailer because you can do that, right? Yeah. And have that online. So Google is an affordable channel for us, and it will stay our main paid channel. That being said, we don't ever want to kind of rely on paid channels. So we run Meta and stuff as well, which definitely if our mission works. Yeah. Word of mouth is the core of this model, right? Because of the retention, because of the price saving, word of mouth is at the absolute core. 40% of our acquisition is organic at this moment in time. And we know from other track records of these sorts of models, that just continues the more the model and the more the brand awareness grows because of the trust and because of the price saving element of what you do.
And what's your LTV to CAC?
At this moment in time, it's about 5 to 1.
Okay. Do you want to explain to everyone what LTV to CAC is?
So LTV to CAC is lifetime value to the cost of acquisition, which is basically the profit you make from a customer, in our case a member, in relation to how much it costs to acquire that customer in the first place. Models like ours is about 5 to 1 at this moment in time. It could well be higher, but the longer you go on, the longer you see these cohorts. Obviously for us, average lifetime of a customer is beyond 2 years now. So we've only gone 3 years, so we need to see where that lands. But 5 to 1 is where we sit. A model like ours, you've got that upfront sort of membership fee, but that really leads to that sunk cost economic principle. So we get a really high retention, high repeat rate from customers. So they order about 6 to 7 times a year. I think over the next few years, that will go up to 9 to 10 times a year. For models like us, LTV to CAC is the core, and also having that good acquisition funnel, it just keeps it really healthy as you grow. So we can eventually start to pour more and more marketing costs in if we want to, whilst keeping everything healthy.
And speak to me about creating organic traffic. So what else do you do to create sort of traffic that's not paid for traffic?
We could be doing a lot more, put it that way, but that's only just down to just limited sort of budgets and resources in the team. We focus mostly on Instagram. That's our main social channel. Everything from storytelling of the brands that we stock to our own brand, all the way up to different issues with the supermarkets and kind of ultra processed food, and really leaning into that mission. That's what we try and convey. A big part of our sort of organic strategy as well is to make the using of these products, as you said about almond milk earlier, right? To show people through recipe content and other easy ways to use them, just really easy swaps. We're not there to tell you need to eat this or you need to eat that. We're not kind of health gurus. We're quality sourcing gurus that allow you to make swaps easier than ever before. And that's what our sort of Instagram channel does. Email is another big one for us, but more budget, would go into sort of SEO. That would be a massive one for us, I think. A huge untapped potential, and obviously TikTok eventually. But I think it might still be a little bit of a younger audience than where we are. Do
you have some influencer product? Like, for instance, we had Sunna on from Tonic Health. Do you stock tonic?
We don't stock tonic, but I know of Sunna, and we would stock tonic as well, to be honest. It's just something we've not come across yet. But I know him well. Great job. His style of content is similar to what we try and lean into. I think he's just far more bold in maybe some of the stuff he talks about than we are.
You should stock tonic because, the clever thing about Sunna and tonic is that he started with generating the traffic and then developed product. And it just goes to show that power of creating traffic, because he's obviously got his own sort of channel and loads of people are following him, and then he's built up trust as a result of that, and then he's launched some of his own products. So it makes great sense. Let's go back to the memberships. How many members do you have?
We've got just over 10,000 members at this moment in time, 10,000 annual members.
Okay, so give us some stats about your members. So things like how many times they're ordering, what's their average order value, XYZ.
Average order value is about £67 at this moment in time. They're ordering between 6 to 7 times a year at this moment in time. Rough kind of target customer, but it really does vary, but target customer is usually more female, really more towards female, usually kind of a younger family, everywhere across the UK. So we ship all across the UK. So it's not limited just to cities. Usually shopping for themselves and on behalf of on a younger family.
And focused on UK only?
At this moment in time, just logistically, just to make it make sense. But at the same time, this is almost one of those models that once it's big enough, you can just plug and play in a different country. The issue is just the curation of the range side, right? So once you've got that sorted, you move to the Netherlands, what products you need to stock in the Netherlands. The underlying logistics is super simple.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's, people really underestimate the power of launching companies in Britain. I think it's a brilliant test model. Because effectively you've got the financial backups, you've got a really good, strong VC ecosystem, we've got talented entrepreneurs like yourself, and you've got a relatively small and stable test market, mature market that you can test the product in. And once you've proved it here, then you can bring it to other areas. I think the problem that I see with many entrepreneurs is they're trying to go to America, before they've really proven themselves in the UK. No, learn your lessons in the UK, prove your model, and then once you've done that, go to Europe, go to America. But just use the UK as a test model. You can't just go in there straight away and think you're going to have a £1 billion business. Yes, of course there's bigger markets in the UK, but Britain and the UK is a great market to start with. So it's good to see that. Okay, so we've spoken about traffic, we've spoken about product. One of my other key areas that I look at as a venture capitalist is team, okay, and your experience. So talk to me about the founders, yourself and your founder. You mentioned about your previous experience, but elaborate on that a bit more. Yeah. And also talk to me about your goals as a founder.
So, I'm a big believer, we're younger founders, but I do think there's a benefit of being a younger founder is that you have both the energy, maybe the naivety sometimes, to be as close to the problem as you possibly can be. So Josh and I have been through that ourselves. We know the problem inside out. It's the same thing that we experience ourselves and took that into a business. So we have both a good dynamic as founders, but yes, we are kind of on the younger side. However, around us, we've not only hired, what we believe to be very, very hardworking, enthusiastic, energetic younger staff, but we also have a very good group of advisors around us from Ocado, from Planet Organic, from other e-commerce ventures online.
Mention some of those people, the advisors.
Our chairman is one of the co-founders of Made.com, Julian Khaled. We've got investors like John Rudo, who was one of the first employees at Ocado. We've also got other advisors that used to be at Planet Organic, that help us on kind of the buying side of where we sit. We believe we've adopted an approach of having a kind of a younger, more resourceful team surrounded by the expert advice of others in the industry to really make headway. But I think that's our belief about what will change this market.
Where do you want to be in 5 years' time from a personal perspective and from a company perspective?
Look, we are, both Josh and I are missionary founders in terms of this mission. Like I love this mission and path that we're on, but it's a business at the end of the day as well. Once you take on investment money, you have to look at exit opportunities and where you want to head. I think in the next 5 years, we can get this business to about 60 to 70 million in revenues in the UK.
Wow.
I think with good enough growth and investment into the right parts of the business. And then I think for models like us, which is kind of a focused retail play, you're talking maybe kind of 2 to 4 times revenue multiples. If it's profitable, if the own brand's working well, then I think you can boast that. And I think there are some potentials out there, but there's never been a clear-cut exit just yet in our space. Grocery is a little bit harder one to acquire, but I also think that, again, own brand focus, getting that kind of community feel makes it very valuable to the likes of the Holland and Barrett's and other places in the world. So we would look at an exit, providing that we took on the investment to get to the exit. If we kept it bootstrapped as we are, or kind of more lean as we are now, and just used our own funds because we're at break even, then I think there's more longevity to be 10, 20-year business.
So to be absolutely clear, in 5 years' time, if you've grown this business on the trajectory that you've mentioned, that you would potentially look for an exit either to a trade buyer or to somebody else.
Yes, we would do.
And that's really refreshing to hear, because I think and I've talked about this before, with founders, I think there's 3 reasons to be in business. There's many founders that are in business for ego, because they might say something like, I want to be in charge of my own destiny. I want to make a better world. And by the way, I've said all of those myself. And definitely in my first business, I did that. And then you've got other founders, they're in business to make money. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's what you do with your money when you make it that matters and defines you. And as long as you make your money in the proper way, you're not making money by making weapons and killing people, or making products that kill people. And then finally, you can be in business to hand over to your family or to your staff or for the better of the world, like Yves Chouinard has done for Patagonia. So I commend the fact that you're clear about your exit strategy, and any VC out there wants to hear that. He wants to know that he's backing somebody that aligns with his strategy of, look, we're backing this business to grow this business, and eventually the founder wants an exit, and we want that because we need to get an exit with a founder. Of course, it's got to be the right exit. Okay, let's just move on finally to sort of financials. So just give me some headlines in terms of financial performance to date. So are you profitable? What's your turnover? How long have you been going?
Yeah.
How much money have you raised?
Last year we did about 2.6 mil in revenues.
Break that down by membership and break that down by turnover.
Membership would be roughly 360,000 of that, and the rest would be order revenue. Off the top of that, some of it advertising revenue. We do a bit of advertising for brands, but that's slowly growing. 2.6. I hope this year that we reach about sort of 4.5 to 5. In revenues at the current trajectory, but it could be more than that. Funding wise, to date, we've raised about...
Profitable?
We are break even, yeah. We operate at break even at this moment in time.
At this moment in time, you're break even?
We are break even, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been going for?
Just shy of 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the first year you've been break even?
Yes. We probably could have been a bit more break even last year if we wanted to, but we had money in the bank to spend. So
congratulations on that. It's great to hear business that's actually, conscious of being break even or moving towards profitability.
Yeah. Yeah. So break even, and the goal would be to stay profitable, right? That's kind of ideally where we want to be. In terms of fundraising, so 1.2 million raised to date. From a mix of angels, 1 or 2 family offices, but no sort of VCs or institutional investors so far. Looking to raise right now between sort of 800 to $1 million in total for the round. We've got about 240 of that in so far. Most of that is going to go on to own brands on the product side, a bit more on the tech stack, making this kind of seamless monthly order delivery is a big part of fixing that, right? Some key hires in the team, and then obviously, of course, a bit more on marketing and growth. Probably investment into the brand side of things. I think our brand could be really good, but I don't quite think our brand is up to scratch of where it needs to be just yet.
Okay, so your last 12 months turnover was what?
Last month was 2.7. And
your run rate based on the last 3 months approximately?
4.5.
4.5. Valuation?
8.5 pre-money.
Bit toppy. How have you justified that? So you're looking at effectively a 2 times on run rate. Yeah.
Comes down to, what we believe at the end of the day, this market, in terms of the strength of the tailwinds in this market, of where we believe it's going. I do think, as I said to you before, being more focused with the own brand play and kind of a more profitable model, we can boast a higher multiple than maybe just kind of 2x that some other retail stores would get. And I think we being break even, we've proved a little bit more to date, if I would say. But in saying that, it's never like the set in stone thing where you have to negotiate. So.
I'll be frank with you. It's not out of the realms. Let's be absolutely honest with you. I think the problem is in this current marketplace, it's much more an investor market than an entrepreneur's market, investee market. And that reflects the fact that it is a difficult market to raise in. There's not been many exits recently. A lot of VCs are really, really struggling. So, as a result of that, we have seen major drop-offs in terms of valuations, because And there's also a perception that we're taking more risks now because, unfortunately, the economy is not doing as well as we had hoped. We're facing a lot of uncertainty, But saying that, I don't think you're over the top in terms of your valuation. 2x, say, run rate for a business that's now currently break even, has got a quite good track record, is not out of the realms. Okay, so yeah, I understand that. Well, listen, I guess all that's here to say is, look, it's been absolutely brilliant chatting to you today. I'm going to be frank, before you came today, I was like, how does this business work? How's it going to compete with everyone?
Yeah.
And you know what? I can really see it. I've been really impressed. I've been really impressed with you as an individual. You're certainly way ahead of me when I was 26 years old. You've got a really strong head on you in terms of knowing where you want to get to. I think you're in a fantastic market. I think there is a need for a specialist online grocer dealing with sustainable foods that's healthier for the customer and giving the choices. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you. And I really appreciate having me. I've really enjoyed it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. What was my impression about Sunny? Let's talk about the product. I'll be honest, I really had my reservations whether a marketplace for sustainable products would work. But actually, I came away from it thinking, yeah, I can totally understand why you would join a membership marketplace to get discounted sustainable products. I thought James himself was really well-rounded. I thought he had a really clear identity. He knew what his company was about. He knew where he wanted to get to. Do I see room for a dedicated, sustainable or environmentally friendly consumer grocery? Yes, I do. So I really like the membership model. I think they've got a lot of room to grow in terms of own brand product. Yeah, I really liked it. So yeah, I think definitely we'll look at WellEasy as a potential investment.